another movie review, and this time it's for the eighth installment in the franchise Mission Impossible. This is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. So, this is directed by the same guy, Christopher McQuarrie, who has done the latest Mission Impossible installment going back to Rogue Nation. And this is the final, looks like it's going to be the final installment for Tom Cruise. So, we picking up basically where we are leaving off with the where Tom Cruise is basically on the run right now, again looking for the portable like device in the submarine sub bases and trying to find more. Also, he's also trying to find this sub portable device in the sub that he has to go find in the submarine to try to control the entity. And this is basically we seeing from it's like more of like AI, artificial intelligence, looking to control global security, looking to control like cybersecurity, also looking to control global security at its breaking point and at its back breaking and its breaking point. And in the blink of an eye, they're trying to control and actually stop the entity from controlling and enslaving a part of the human race. And I seen that mostly when I watched this film, and it was kind of just on the edge of my seat, wondering how is Tom Cruise performing as Ethan Hunt? How is he performing these impossible stunts? So basically, he goes in and talks to the latest with his MIF team on the side of on the side of these choices that they're making. At the sum of it, he's trying to relay it back to these new cast members of the team, played by Hayley Atwell as Grace, played by Pom Klementieff as Marie, and played at the same time, knowing that this is just the last one, this is the final one, and knowing that he's also becoming more of a fugitive from the law because they found out more so about his record, they found out more so about what his past, and found out more so about what's going on with his troubling past and troubling future, and knowing that we see it at this point. Uh, uh, so knowing that we see it at this point, his troubling past and his troubling future that could come back and haunt him at this point. So also we end up knowing that Luther cooked up and was whipping up this more or less this antidote that actually, when he ends up going to find this portable device, knowing that it could control and know it could confine a part of his a way of stopping and controlling the entity and stopping and controlling it from taking over vast majority of countries, more or less controlling of not just the U.S. but sub bases, the launching of the missiles, so the launching of the missiles won't go out and attack and formulate and confine and just take over like at least four different countries that the U.S. compartmentalized enterprises. So that's what I kind of got particularly from the story arc from the movie. And another thing I really wanted to say was I really enjoyed all the casting performances from not just from Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt himself, but the emotional upbeat and the heart from Simon Pegg as Benji, from Ving Rhames as Luther Stigwell. I thought they both did an incredible job, knowing that this could be the last time that they all could that them and them as the MIF team and Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt, the last time they could all be seeing each other at this point, because the U.S. and pretty much the world is at stake. The world could be ending possibly, and they are trying to do this one last mission, this one final mission. And he also is trying to get an okay and saying from the president, played by Angela Bassett, of like, you guys need to help me with unlocking this key, and could this key and what this device that he ends up finding at a submarine base, what could that be for a possibility of knowing that he might not make it at this point. Now, that is pretty much what the explanation of the story is. Oh, and as well as knowing that they had to stop Gabriel, and knowing that Gabriel, if he gets these portable like controlling device, and also getting that and getting the antidote portion that Luther ended up creating, he could end up controlling the entity and weighing it at his own needs. So that would be the main thing I would say that is the story arc that I from what I've explained and from what I saw in the movie. And knowing that from what I saw in the movie, I was so floored by, of course, throughout all the movies, the incredible action set pieces and the incredible stunt work from Tom Cruise, man, because he just knows how to do it. He does it with such grace and does it with such effortlessness, and it almost is not even funny. It makes it look like it's just easy and effortlessly with the stunt work. It's not even funny. I overall love that about this movie, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat. And in the blink of an eye, I don't know how he does some of these stunt work and some of these ways of just continuing to one up himself with the stakes, with the upscale of just the stunt work, and of course with the action set pieces, and of course the dialogue and the chemistry that he has with him and his MIF team, and of course with the with the agency in the U.S. Like just the dialogue and the chemistry that he has with all of them is just really really solid. And so another thing that I would say is a positive is for my biggest pros and my biggest cons. So my biggest pros throughout the movie, of course, is the incredible stunt work from Tom Cruise. That's number one. Number two is the dialogue between Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise, and of course the IMF team. And number three is similarly, and this is also a con. Also, it's also kind of be a negative as well. I really do like the callbacks through the first couple of movies and how they relate into some instances of why they end up wanting to take down the entity and take down Gabriel. I feel like they have some close ties and callbacks to the first film, especially when he broke in and stole the MP files, and also the device from that film. And also there was a certain character from the original movie in '96 when he ends up and he ends up starring in that film. Is what made him a household name. That's what made him who he is today. But there was a callback from a certain character, which I'm not going to spoil, but from that film and into this one, which we see later on, and how he ends up connecting and helping the MIF team later on down the line to try to get these detonation bombs out of these this huge, like more of like a computer global security scale that could continue to hit these caverns. And also another pro in the movie is the stunt work, mainly from the underwater submarine sequence where he goes in and tries to and recaptures the device. And then it's not really a spoiler because they kind of showed this in the trailer, but the plane sequence where when he ends up going after Gabriel, and we end up seeing what happens to him. I end up seeing what happens to him when I saw it, when he ends up going to battle with him and Gabriel on the plane sequence, like right in the middle of the air, and he ends up dangling off of the plane. I was like, oh my God, how in the world is he going to survive this? How in the world does he end up going to continue to one up himself again with these scaling and stakes, and with this level of stunt work and with this level of just choreography, the ability to stay on the regular cargo plane while still be able to continue to reinvigorate that chip in the device in order for the missiles to not launch and to end up hitting any other countries. So that would be a main thing that was a positive that I would say throughout the movie that really really hit, was just the stunt work, the overall action, the overall just dialogue and chemistry within the characters, and also just the acting pretty much felt more so like it was at home, in the franchise. So I really do believe that it continues to one up itself, and it continues to just go into a positive direction. Now the biggest negatives in the movie, I will say, is the runtime, because this movie is excruciatingly long. and it takes a long time for it to get to its actual story and connect the beats and to get to its main point. I really do feel like it loses a little bit of steam as far as it became like a lot of fans have been complaining like a giant exposition dump because it just like I was saying earlier, because of the callbacks to the earlier parts of the film from the first three installments. That is a big negative too, because I do feel like it feels so much of just so much exposition, like it has to reoccur in events in the past, instead of actually getting to the beat and to the port and the root connection of the film. And I really feel like it takes too long to get to its point because it's trying so much to explain to newer fans, the new age fans of the franchise, and also the old fans who watched the franchise for so long about why the events are taking place the way that they are. And I do think that just takes away as far as the beat to the movie. And if they would have shaved off at least about 25 to 30 minutes of the runtime, it would have made the movie a whole lot more, you know, palatable. It would have made it a little bit more just engaging. I do think the runtime does take a lot out of the film from some fans, and it does feel a bit too hyperbolic per se, more or less hyperbolic and more just paint by the numbers. So that may be a thing that I would say is a big negative. And another thing that was a negative, and I said this not on this channel, but I said this on previous other pages. I'm not a big fan of the entity itself as a villain, and I'm not really the hugest fan of Gabriel, played by Ezra. I think it's S.A. Morales. I'm not really the hugest fan of him because I think he, to me, does not. He's just a generic surface level villain that he's all about typical bad guy doing typical bad guy things. I always said in any action movie or any comic movie, any movie period, you don't have to necessarily agree with what the villain's decisions and plans are, but you gotta understand the functions, the compartmentalizing and the motivations of why they do the bad things they continuously do in order for you to like really latch on and grasp on to why they want to get away with certain bad things in the world to in order for you to really feel and understand the roots and the beats of why they commit the wrongdoings that they commit towards. And I don't think this film, and not only not just this film in the Mission Impossible movie, but the franchise itself, they never really had a strong, compelling villain besides the one played by Philip Seymour Hoffman in the third film, which that to me was the best one, the best villain, um, I say in the franchise overall. So that made him be the one thing that I would say is the two biggest things that is a big at fault for me is I would say the entity and overall as Gabriel, overall as the villains in the film, they really kind of just did not do it for me. But really I do really think that, and also another thing that I would say is a big issue for me is I do believe it was not that many explanations of certain new characters that really explains how they end up getting to a couple of them that get to the IMF team and how they were at and who they are. And I don't really think that there was a big explanation of the new characters in the IMF team, nor the ones that was involved in the ones that the navigational system, the ones that was at the navigational pool and the task force of police and the police agency. I don't really think how they got to where they at. So those few character mishaps and not really good explanations would be a thing that would take away the purpose for me and the stakes of the film. And also, I really thought that the guy who played Jim Phelps' son, played by John Voight in the first film, I don't really think they explained him too much well. I kind of just thought that he just had to throw in a few things there as far as his role, and then they just throw his role in there and how he was and how he became who he is, and they never really went into a factor why how Jim Phelps got to where he's at working for the police force. So that would be a main thing I would say is a big issue with me with the film. And overall, My thoughts about the film is I think this is a beautiful yet exhilarating, thrill-seeking love letter to all of the franchise throughout all of the films in its property from the one in 1996 all the way up until now. I really feel like this is a beautiful love letter and a giant call to all of the fans that really have been there since day one with the franchise and continue to stay true and humble to it and continue to support it. It gave us so many outstanding jaw-dropping moments from the actions, from the set, from the stunt work, from the action set pieces, the fighting choreography, and continues to live on and continues to do his thing. Tom Cruise, as Ethan Hunt continues to do his thing. And if it is the last film that Tom Cruise is doing in this franchise, he continues to go out with a bang, and he went out with a bang in this one to and went out swinging on his own terms and did his thing. And once again, he has so much promise and so much joy, and what pretty much what made him the actor star that he is today, and gave us fans a love letter that we are gonna continue to remember on forever. And so, yeah, that's my overall thoughts about Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. And if I had to rate this movie out of 4 stars, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 4 stars and an 8 out of 10 recommendation for fans to go and check it out and see it on the biggest screen, especially in IMAX, because that's where I seen this at. Like, I want to see all of these ones in the franchise. So definitely check this one out in IMAX, and you'll definitely will not be missing anything. And I will rank this somewhere in the middle of the movies, because I do think that while it does have so much scales, really good stunt work, some of the best action set pieces and the best stunt work in the franchise, I do think it takes a lot longer and a lot more to go along with the story, and a clunky, messy story, and a bit of too much exposition, but at the same time, a big love letter and a big call to what we all love about these films in general. And this is definitely my favorite action movie franchise of all time. Like, it's definitely there, other than John Wick could be fighting in contention for it, but definitely one for the ages, and you definitely are gonna not be miss anything. Go see this on the biggest screen possible. So overall, that is my thoughts about the movie, and tell me what you guys think down in the chat room and down in the comment section below about Final Reckoning for Mission Impossible. What are your thoughts about that? The next movie I'm going to see, or the next movies I'm going to see, is definitely Ballerina for the world of John Wick, Karate Kid Legends, and definitely the Superman movie that comes out on July the 11th, I believe. Yeah, those are the main ones I'm going to go see. So there's going to be more movie reviews like this coming out. So thank you guys for watching. I am out. Like, share, and subscribe. And I will talk to you in the next one. Peace.